ICO hat on last year, reading many white papers, getting interested into this space, understanding what is tokenomics and all the rest. And I came to many conclusions. Just now, in the other panel, on the other side, there's the girl that say, it's the very beginning of the industry. And I'm so negative, I say it's the very end. And then she say, the exchange, she was talking to one of the exchanges, say we are not here to make money. I went, oh my God, this is too much. I've been in consensus for the past couple of days. I've been approached by 27 exchanges asking me if I have a project to list on the exchange. So I find the industry radically changed. Until 6 months ago, I found that everyone was running after the exchange. Now the exchange ran after the ICO.
That's correct.
So I have a few questions here for you. One thing that was quite interesting is this: everywhere I go, they tell me 99% of the ICO fails, 92% of the ICO fails, 96% of the ICO fails, 82%, whatever number it is, why the ICO fails, but rather, what are your criteria for evaluating blockchain projects, whether they are ICO or not ICO, starting from your experience, which you have completed already, or when you look at other projects as an investor yourself?
Well, as a matter of fact, our platform provides you with data, frameworks, and metrics to value crypto assets. Yeah. From my perspective, it's all about network. Is ICO project or any cryptocurrency able to build the network first on developer level? And I was just sharing the metric. You can see developer activity. Is it stable, growing, or at least there is some developer activity? First metric you should look into in any case. And the second, now in a stage, not like last year, now in a stage, where we can analyze and we have enough experience to say, based on on-chain metrics, taken directly from blockchain, what is really happening to this project? Is this network activity going on? Is there a new inflow of users? Is it correlated to the price? All these metrics, say, is new. But once you look to at least 20 of them, for 1 year period of time, you see direct correlation. You see this is a growing project, this is an early development, this is a dying project. Before you see this, all other assessments, they're just pure speculation. It's like pointing with your finger to the air. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. It's not based on any factual data, and we have no data.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's a great, good assessment, but let me just go back a little and explain my background, because that's the criteria I use to assess if a project could be successful in the future or not. So I'm a lawyer, and I came from Big Four, formerly Big Four in management consulting. So I speak about 8 languages. I live in Europe, Hong Kong, and Japan. The last posting was about 8 years in Tokyo. So basically, I bring an old school world of thought to assessing projects like what my fellow panelists just said. I think a lot of it is not just about what you write on paper. It's about the people. You do management interviews. You see who's behind it. I mean, to my knowledge, a lot of people, a lot of white papers are outsourced to professional writers. So it's not really the actual visionary and the management who actually came up with their own paper, because that would indicate their passion and how much they put their heart and soul into that project. So I go back to an old school approach where you interview the management, do management meetings, assess the viability of the projects and how much money they will actually put in developing the technology. Most of the time you can't really tell from a piece of paper. So and look at old PE. I personally like look at PE earnings ratio. I personally like real assets in an ICO and the real usage of blockchain. Is there a real need? You really have to ask yourself, for example, some things that you put RFID chips in cows and now you say, oh, I want to use blockchain to make sure the cows are getting immunized, getting from point A to point B safely. So if you use RFID chips, maybe the cow's ears will be snipped off and then the cows will be missing and replaced with something else. That's because I'm involved in a farm project right now. For some countries, governments, they ask me for advisory and risk management, but the blockchain will solve this problem. So I'm personally currently incubating about 6 projects now, ICO projects from Hong Kong, from Japan, from Europe and USA. My partner is a partner of Blockconnectors. So I personally am looking at the legal and the risk assessment part. So I think I bring an old school approach to ICO and blockchain advisory.
Thank you, thank you. Next in line.
Yeah, so I think now a lot of cryptos, like if you take a step back to see why exchange is there for the listing is to actually for users to adopt. When people want to get the tokens, they need to go to exchange to actually get it, you see. But I think nowadays, this portion is a bit failing. Everyone go exchange, actually it's just for speculations. They are not really for adoptions. And this is a bit sad to say. This is why, at this portion is a bit dysfunctional. And I think what we want to work towards that is actually bring back, like for us, we don't actually list any ICO yet. We have already around 10 in the pipeline. But I mean, if we want to be genuine and we really want to help this ecosystem, there's no point to list them at this moment. It's just going to drop in the price. For us, we are pretty much to focus to bring the new audience, the new entrance of the new so-called the crypto ecosystem, and try to educate them to understand better in this ecosystem.
Thank you, thank you. That makes very much sense. Let's drop a bomb here. How many of you have bought tokens before? Put your hand up if you have bought token before. If you have participated in any ICO, put your hand up, put your hand up. Want to see, I'm expecting 20 to 30%. Keep your hand up, keep your hand up. It's going to be a social experiment. Keep your hand up. How many of you are using the tokens? Because generally, if we saw you. Because generally, I would say the average Joe purchase the token because wants to make money. They want the token to go to the moon, buy a Lamborghini, sell it to someone else, then inherit the debt. So I like your approach. You say we want to include new users. So if I can summarize your answer on how you evaluate blockchain projects, you basically say it's the numbers.
No. I say where we are now, we have much more data than year before. We should start paying good attention.
Correct.
So still, as you see this price movement, it means they're not educated guesses, most of them. So yeah, I'm just trying to bring focus to the people. It's very different what we had 1 year before. 1 year before we had no real developer activity indexes, no on-chain metrics, no real social metrics, nothing, almost nothing. Now we have much more. It's time to pay attention to it.
So the numbers should be the first one of the parameters to look into.
It's interesting to look into it, especially if some of you are researchers and data scientists. It's exciting. It's a very exciting field of experiment.
And you say just now more of community, more of adoption, and you say more if it makes sense, if a project makes sense. Notice the three of us on the stage have white hair. I don't know what you do. The other three have white hair, so probably we take that type of approach. I usually say the 5 parameters I look for is how much money they attract, what's the price of the token, did the investor get the money back, if they develop anything at all, are they actually going to be profitable? If these 5 tick the box, then good. So thank you for sharing that one. And how do you validate if the project actually require blockchain? I was interviewed on Monday on Money FM, and I tend to use the word DLT. I rarely use the word blockchain. I prefer to use DLT because when I talk to the big boys, big banks, none of them talk to me about blockchain. They all talk about DLT. And I actually get very excited when a DLT project is not using blockchain. He's using Tango, for instance, or Hedera, or whether they are solid or not solid, but they are trying to do something different to wake up the dead horse and see if it's going to do something. How about you? How do you get? How do you evaluate if a project really needs DLT or they are just making it for the sake of the stunt?
If a project meets one of two requirements, one of two descriptions. First, there is a way how the community project participants can create value together, and it can be tokenized. Definitely the need token. Second, you could take Binance. They have a token, but it has value because it's the discount token. This very simple discount token model. We did have it in a history for dozens of years. now just because you can make it very transparency, very exciting, and you can engage your users to participate more in whatever, it's not, it doesn't have to be so complicated, like a Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS, Tezos, whatever. It can be simple stuff like discount token, and you can use, you can see immediate use case in this example too. So one, there is a value created together and it's shared or distributed between the users for token is needed. Second,
Actually, it's why blockchain, not token. Blockchain needed, not token. I mean, the things that you are describing now can be done also with digital currency on a non-blockchain. But why blockchain? What are the other attributes that are mandatory? In which, perhaps you want to start, maybe we start from the other side, from Aaron. We will start from you first, then we get back to you in a second.
Yeah.
And for instance, what strikes me is when they say, because blockchain is very safe, or blockchain is very transparent. Well, I see a lot of numbers, but I don't know what are those numbers. So to me, what strikes is the fact that blockchain is immutable. So I'm thinking of the industry that need immutable data.
Right, as I was saying earlier, I mean, you really have to look at the usage, like for example, the dairy farm project that I mentioned. Right now, people keep emphasizing on Ethereum's ERC20, how it leads to smart contracts and how it leads to transparency. But you got to analyze if you really need it, because like I said, there are existing technology like putting RFID chips in the fish or in the cow, and they say, hey, you know, they are really trackable. It's about tracking, it's about credibility. When people say they did something, did they really do it? And therefore, by using distributed ledgers linked to blockchain, and hence it is real, it is genuine because it can be altered. It's almost impossible. But right now we see a major problem. I'm not sure if I'm opening up a new discussion to talk about the current Ethereum crash and the problems about utility token on ERC20, because that's probably going to lead to a new revolution about people are going about starting a security token 20, SD, whatever, 20 system. And that would probably make issues, all these smart contract using Ethereum probably irrelevant if the regulators come in to take over this.
That's very, I'm a big STO fan, so it is a very interesting conversation.
Yes.
Let's see what I pronounce it correctly, CU.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, my name is Chi. Yeah, it's Chi is okay. So I think I like to take a one step back approach. So we start with activity, let's say, like everyone now we have money, right? But how about we go cashless now? Like, let's say we play a game together in this room. And everyone, right now we have 1 million. And we need to make some transactions, you know, as the game requires. How can we actually trade that value you see? If you maybe can you see, trust me, because you know I'm a speaker, and you know you trust me, I become your so-called accountant, jot down every transactions. But how about if I'm a bad guy? This is where, you know, we need a consensus mechanism. We need some collaborative tools to ensure that, you know, you don't need to trust me, because every transactions I jot down, I will show in the screen, and to further ensure that, you know, the further transaction security and also everyone for the democracy, I will give you all the ledgers that you guys can keep. So this is where, you know, blockchain come across to ensure that we can collaborate together and ensure that there is no one person's only to actually to exploit everything, and that, you know, you provide the benefit and the value can transfer in the community. So this is why blockchain exists, and when you took this as a solution, right, you can apply to the problem, and actually it solves the issue with a lower cost, with a more huge community, and it changed the game, and that's where the disruptions come across. So this is why I feel that, you know, the why blockchain element, that is a fundamental, and you can see the value of the projects. But however, nowadays, project tends to shift to only crowdfunding and lack of this kind of element.
Thank you. Did you think of an idea, Maksim?
Yeah, I was thinking, reflecting. For me, maybe because of our focus of our platform, it's always about value of tokens. And I came to a conclusion, blockchain, as was said, without token is a kind of dead body. It cannot keep competition with tokenized or incentivized network. Therefore, I use them like in the changing DLT blockchain token. For me, is the same. Although I assume there could be maybe some cases, but whatever the cases are, they're not so interesting for innovative, fast-moving space of cryptocurrencies. and yeah, for them, we always look at the same parameters. Yeah, like I said in the beginning.
Thank you, thank you. They are saying that they are having difficulties listening to your voice, so but maybe keep
Is
it.
it switched on?
Yes, it's on. Just you have to keep it
okay.
the front side, not the side. Now another question on the token price. So the question is about: is more important to look at the tokens in terms of token price or the token development, or what they are doing with the tokens?
Middle way. There is no just token price. There is no just fundamentals. It's digital commodities. They're priced in. You need to take into account the price, tendency, cycles, and the development speed, or I don't know, whatever metrics you are using. If you look into price and you look into the depth of project, you talk to the community, team members, core members, if you can read the code, you check GitHub, or you can use the platform, you will see, does it fit together? Or sometimes, actually right now there are thousands of projects who are undervalued. You know what they're doing, like insider, you see the evaluation, and you realize they're undervalued. They built much more than the market priced in, because the crypto markets behave in specific patterns. So I would always pay attention to the development, quality of development, speed of development, acceptance of the community, interactions, but the price. You always pay attention to the price.
Thank you.
Okay, so token price. Okay, I mean everyone's of course we want some capital gains and we look at the price. But I think the value of the blockchain, when we come with this tokenomics, the beauty is like today, if let's say I'm a company, why can't I go centralized? Why can't I give rewards? But the problem with rewards is that I can, there is no cap. I can keep printing. I can, the sky is the limit. I can always increase the supply of the rewards. There is no limit. But with this token supply, at least there's a scarcity over there. And with this scarcity, compared with the traditional stock, you can share split. You can do all this funny stuff. You know that there is a scarcity over there. However, you need a key utility, in play that this thing can, distribute to the huge communities and with the fixed supply and a huge demand. Of course, the price will increase. Is a economy when you.
I actually politely disagree on that, because if you look at the countries, for example, no sovereign country in the history of mankind have ever established a country by saying we're going to have a limited amount of US dollars.
Yes.
Every time the GDP goes up, then the currency goes in to fuel the economy, and is a stimulus to the economy.
Yes.
A limited supply has been proven token after token after token after token after token that even if you make one token, it might still be worth zero, as you say, because it has to as a user.
Correct.
Or a utility.
But I really like Stefano's arguments. I need to highlight one thing. When I talk about tokenomics and the token, I don't mean it to be a currency, you see. Token, it can be a storage of it can be an investment, you see. But it shouldn't be a currency, because currency need to fulfill these three things. You need to be very easy to divisible, you need to be portable, and you need to be stable. So when you have a token that you want to be mainstream like currency to be stable, how can you expect it to appreciate of the value? You see where my argument come from? So if you want a token, your investment to appreciate, it shouldn't be a currency, it shouldn't be a form of money. Yeah, that's what I want to clarify.
Aaron, what do you think?
I think this is an interesting discourse. Those people are trying to raise token, but the more these existing projects sell, the more it crash, because there are more supply of this Ethereum on the market. I'm using that as an analogy, but as my fellow panelists pointed out, it's about the tokenomics. You have to manage. The way I see the solution is you have to have a massive project. And why I say that? Because say you actually need 30 million to actually get the project off of the soft cap as 30 million. But then again, you have to lock up half of it, and then you say, half or even more for 6 months. Then you say, I actually effectively have such a small amount. So why say you effectively need a big project? Say you manage to raise 80 million. My software is 80 million. Then you lock up half or more, you still have more money left to fund the operations, and therefore your token will not be as worthless as if you were, if there's so many of them flying around. So in effect, it's about economic supply and demand.
Yeah, but that refers to Keynes' economy. In Keynes' economy, he was considering, like, if you take one category of asset,
Yes.
and given the scarcity of one category of asset, then the price is dictated between demand and supply. So if you say the rice in the world is running low, then the price of rice goes up. But the token supply is enormous. So if everyone say, I only build 100 tokens, yeah, but the other guy have built 3 trillion tokens. There are trillions and trillions of tokens, and the exchange, all they do is just basically offer you an opportunity of converting token A to token B, or token C, or token D, and exchange them. So the actual token supply, every issuer thinks that is limited, but collectively is pretty much unlimited.
Yeah.
Because now there are also the fact that the maximum use case of Ethereum, it was probably the last 6 months, the maximum use case, the maximum amount of ERC20 token, the maximum amount of smart tokens, the price collapsed. So even at the moment of maximum use, the price collapsed. So there is something more beyond that one, which is pure economy. That's why if you had to put down, if you have to choose one between two, is the development or the price?
Yeah.
Which one? If you have to choose something.
It depends which position you're coming from, right? I mean, if you are the project investor, you want quick entry and quick outs.
So?
But if you're a vested interest, you obviously want to hold more, and you know it's going to succeed. It's like you're the CEO of a company. I know I have an amazing product X. Takes me $1 million to commit. I know I'm going to get 50 million.
Okay,
3 years.
fellow panelists, you are on the panel tonight. Is the price or is the development?
I would choose development.
I think this kind of question is very constrained. Of course, we will choose development. But I need to actually take a step back on Ethereum, on back to the topic. I will say that I really agree on collectivism, but the thing is, because nowadays I think the understanding is still not there. If let's say we're talking about there are a lot of good projects, so there are a lot of ICO, it's at the max use. But if there are a lot of good projects, there are constant incoming of fiat. You see, it can actually achieve equilibrium or even going to the upward directions. But the problem right now is that the 90+% they are not performing. That's why, and they need money. They need to throw. You see, they need to change to fiat. And where is the demand come from? And you can ask that who are the other exchange? Who are the players out there that are actually able to accept your Sing dollars for Bitcoin or any other cryptos? You can count even using one hand. This is why you see we are still at the early phase where we didn't really reach the equivalent state yet. And yeah, so that's why I would say there's a bit bias, and I still feel that utilities concepts still can.
Thank you, Maxim. One, development or price?
One word about the price. The whole crypto market capitalization, we're becoming too obsessive with it. It's a natural cycle. It's like breath in, breath out. We cannot control it. We can only observe it. Whatever we're doing, pump it up or dump it, it will go its own course, regardless what we're doing or what we're not doing. It's a natural process. Yeah, we're not. Okay, this is it. So the price will always go up and down and up and down, regardless what we think, what we want, or what we do. So it's just my comment regarding the price.
Let's see from the audience. How many of you are more focused? Are you more focused on the token price, or are you more focused on the token development? Put your hand up if you're more focused on the token price when you do your purchase. When you participate in ICO, are you looking more at the token potential price appreciation or the development of what they're doing? Put your hand up for the price. Put your hand up for the price, honestly.
How about I phrase this?
Put your hand up for the development.
How about I put in this way? If you have a good development, the price will follow. Who are with me?
So someone say no. Perhaps later during the question, they are wearing the same cult shirt, so probably they're gonna have a suit. It's so funny nowadays. You go around, you see.
Well, it's natural. It's natural for us to pay attention to price and to be a kind of attached to it. But we should always need to be reflective. We only kind of observe. And we are smart developers. Sometimes we are right predicting it. it's all about a balance. You should observe what is developing, and then it's much better for you as a portfolio.
Of course, thank you. I have just a couple of questions left very quickly. My background is Adobe. I'm the most certified Adobe trainer in the world. I have 83 certifications with Adobe. I train 14,000 people. I love the software. I've been a beta tester of Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro, After Effects, Acrobat, Remover, Flash, Contribute, Captivate, and On Location. I really enjoy that side of the visual communication and things that look fantastic. So a few years ago, they invited me at some conferences, and I was always predicting what would have happened in the next few years, which was okay predictable. Like, for example, at a point, I was telling the photographers, trash your film camera, because digital camera will take over the market. A few years later, I was telling the photographers, trash your DSLR camera, because soon we will take videos and photos only with phones. It took about 15 years, this transition from 2003, when I started being a trainer, until pretty much now, where we have a mix of them. In DLT, or in cryptocurrency, this prediction is going to be massively wrong. Would you like to make a massively wrong prediction for the next 5 years?
Prediction in regards to what?
You tell me. Aaron?
A massively wrong prediction would arise from the fact that I have a massively correct prediction in the first place and then turn it around. So I would say cryptocurrency will not be used again. So that's impossible, as we all know, because people are predicting the doomsday. Go and search online, and people are saying, "Oh, Ethereum will be gone." You know.
Oh, you found my blog.
I read up on my fellow panelists. So people are predicting the end of Ethereum. There will be a new world order where Bitcoin and the existing currencies will be overtaken by the underdog. But the fact is that there are so many hundreds and thousands of tokens on the market, and they all premise on a few major cryptocurrency. So it's hard to see that there's any truth to the prediction about the end of any particular major cryptocurrency, because there's just too much at stake, I personally feel. Even though I'm not bought into it, even though I'm a stickler to fiat currency currently, but I think at a certain point in next year I'll probably come in and buy some.
Thank you. So is it Honti or?
Yeah, it's okay. No worries. Yeah.
Sorry.
So I think we'll start with your questions. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Bitcoin will go to zero?
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think that will be my statement. Yeah.
Thank you. And Maksim, your horribly wrong prediction for the next 5 years.
We will see globally adoption by all governments, cryptocurrencies. They will run it.
Fantastic. I actually love governments and I love banks, and I believe that cryptocurrency will really go to zero. That was my 5 years prediction. But hey, imagine this one. If I need money to buy a car, where do I go? To the crypto exchange? Excuse me, I go to the bank. And the bank give me money. When I want money, they give me money. I love banks, right? I want money. They call me every day to ask me if I want money. Isn't that fantastic? I love banks. Banks are fantastic. And also, they are amazing. I believe. No, look. Seriously, if you look at the technology market, 2007, if you were working, you probably were still in high school in 2007.
2007, yeah.
Yeah. So if you were working in 2007, you would have probably received every day an email that invite you to participate a event that is going to share with you how cloud computing is going to change the world, and they will tell you it's just the beginning. Everything will be on cloud computing, and it's going to change the world. Fast forward 10 years later, 50% of any application ever developed in the history is still server-side, no cloud. My prediction is, because I have probably a lot of white hair that are making me a little bit blur, is that 10 years down the road, probably 30% of all the application will be decentralized or distributed application. And the rest, 30%, 1/3 will be cloud, 1/3 will be server. And every revolution that says that it's going to be fast has been slow. Every revolution that never announced was fast.
Stefano, okay, before sorry to interrupt you a bit. So I just want to check because I think we are a bit of generation gap here. I don't mean you are old, but I just want to
I'm
check.
Italian, I have gaps.
I just want to check one question. Are you still reading newspaper like nowadays?
Of course.
Really?
Of course, of course.
Oh, but that's our difference, you see. For our generation, we don't read newspaper anymore, you see.
I read the newspaper to see which ICO is buying news.
Oh, that's a very good insight. But what I want to challenge is that maybe for your generation you will go to bank. But I want to actually debate for my next generations. They might not go to bank, you see. They might be going to crypto exchange. I'm not trying to shield my industry, but yeah.
Maybe we go to the crypto time. That was really random. And I didn't drink any beer, I promise. Right, okay, very last question. Is there any question from the audience, by the way? Someone that want to throw us any items that are going to cut or hurt us? Summarize with one very quick sentence your experience in this industry, whether for you is token industry or cryptocurrency industry or DLT industry or cryptocurrency industry, or blockchain or ICO industry. Summarize it quickly. Elevator pitch of why you're here, what brought you here.
I was the CEO of a Japanese ICO project in Singapore, and I think going forward there's a lot of such projects coming because from China, Korea and Japan because of regulatory issues. So they will probably look for a local person to take charge or be part of an issuer based in Singapore going forward, and I'm very excited as a lawyer. They'll all be coming to us for SDR.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Chi, CEO of Tokenize Exchange, a Singapore-based cryptocurrency exchange, and it's going to be a Southeast Asia, fed to crypto and crypto to crypto exchange. We are here to bring accessibility to cryptocurrency. Thank you.
Thank you. Maksim.
As a founder and CEO of cryptocurrency project, my experience is crypto is a kind of like a black hole. Once you're there is no way back, and time is running completely different. 1 year's contract for 10. So this is my experience of crypto.
It's like when you are in love. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, kind of special kind of love. Yeah.
One question.
Allow me to use your microphone. Yes.
Sorry, one question in regards to probably the final question, and in regards to the title of the panel. Could we get more insight from you guys? The cryptocurrency that is just pure hype, aka bullshit, and one cryptocurrency that you think it's a hold with this market.
Who wants to answer this? Maksim?
I can tell you in a private discussion. I would not like to be public.
Okay.
It's really because it's my personal opinion. I don't want to hurt anyone.
Any answer? Aaron?
I think there's always a glimmer of hope in the worst storm, right? So I think it really depends on project. I mean, if you ask me what I think, because I personally think this is a great correction time, because with problems like this, it draws people's attention to really good projects, because this is a cheap time to go into good projects. With the huge correction happening now, there are certain we can have a private chat. I've on hand a very good project, some very good projects. I mean, you really, like I said, bottom line is use your gut instincts, look at the project, look at whether it's backed by real working business. To me, it's not about selling a dream in a box, which is what a lot of people claim ICOs are as opposed to IPOs, because I come from an IPO background. I helped list companies for the last 15 years.
Thank you. In my opinion, it's like football. Are you Singaporean?
Indonesian.
Malaysian. Do you like football?
Not really.
Who likes football here? Where are you from? What football team you like? Are you from Manchester?
No.
That's exactly what cryptocurrency is all about. You take one thing that's got nothing to do with you, with your culture, with your background, and you believe that they are the coolest thing. And same goes for the cryptocurrency. Then you find out that that MOU that they signed, they actually didn't sign. That news that I read on the news, it was actually $2,500 given to a third party. And so that you realize that all you have been told about the cryptocurrency, or a lot that you've been told about the cryptocurrency, it shatters. And the value was just a big hype for many cryptocurrencies.
Any other questions from the crowd in regards to this panel? Or would you rather ask them privately?
Let me thank the panelists. We've gotten Maksim from Santiment, yeah, Santiment, because you're a saint, yeah. From Santiment. Let's put the hands together for Maksim, please. And then also for Mr. Yu, correct? Yeah, for Mr. Yu from Tokenize. Please put your hands together, one by one. They deserve individual applause, and one for Aaron Wong from Sage Strategy. Please, one last round. Thank you very much for participating in this panel.
Thank you.
So, food stuff.